Don Paulson. I think we can start whenever you're ready, Rashid.
Right, this is April 26th, Parks and Recreation Commission meeting. This is Parks and Recreation Chair Rashid Ali. I would like to make clear for the record of this meeting, and it should be reflected in the minutes, that the regular Parks and Recreation Commission meeting of April 26, 2021 will be conducted pursuant to Governor Newsom's executive order N2920. This meeting will be held via teleconference, and Parks and Recreation Commission members will participate via conference. Those locations are not listed on the agenda and are not accessible to the public. The public is encouraged to listen to the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting live by going to the City of Woodland website at www.cityofwoodland.org/meetings. Any member of the public watching the live stream who wishes to make a comment on an item as it is being heard may submit an email to krista.bain@cityofwoodland.org prior to public comment on that item. Email comments submitted to be read into the record shall be no more than 3 minutes when read aloud. Please include the agenda item in the subject line. Chris, it would now be appropriate for you to conduct roll call. Each member of the commission must identify themselves during roll call. Go ahead, Chris.
Good evening, everybody. Vice Chair Ali, are you here?
This is Vice Chair Ali. I am here.
Commissioner Martin, you here?
Yes, Commissioner Martin, I'm present.
Commissioner Valkaringi?
Yes, I'm present.
And Commissioner White Snyder?
This is Commissioner White Snyder. I'm present.
Wonderful. I would now like to request that each member of the commission respond to these questions. Commissioner Martin, can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Commissioner Valkaringi, can you hear me well?
Yes, I can.
And Commissioner White Snyder, can you hear me well?
Yes, I can.
Does each member of the commission have a copy of the agenda for this meeting? Commissioner Martin, do you have an agenda?
Yes, I do.
Commissioner Valkaringi, do you have an agenda?
Yes.
And Commissioner White Snyder, do you have an agenda?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Chris, has the agenda been posted location reasonably accessible to the public?
Yes, it has been.
Okay, wonderful. The record should reflect that all commissioners are present for this teleconference and have indicated that they were able to hear the proceedings. At this time, I'm requesting the city staff introduce themselves and their positions so that the record can reflect their attendance.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Christine Engel, the Community Services Director.
Hi there, I'm Chris Bain. I am the Community Services Program Manager.
Hi, I'm Wes Schroeder. I'm the Park Superintendent.
Okay. Now, as we go through the agenda, I would request that before speaking, you identify yourself each time. For example, this is Commissioner Ali. Interrupt. I would also ask that to the greatest extent possible, everyone mute their phones or microphones so that they don't get any unnecessary background noise. I would now like to advise all commissioners and city staff that any votes taken during the teleconference portion of this meeting must be taken by roll call. I would ask Chris Bain to take that roll for any and all votes. And now we will begin with the agenda. Starting off with Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner White Snyder, would you mind leading us?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Next item is going to be public comment. As the council chambers are closed to the public, is there any member of the public who has submitted an email or left a voicemail for general comment, for the general comment portion of this meeting?
Rashid, there has not been. No public comment.
Okay. All right, then we'll move on to communications. Staff communications. I can start off and see Commissioner Martin. Do you have any communications for the commission?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Commissioner Valkaringi?
I have a quick question about the green belts in the Spring Lake neighborhood. And I'm hoping the city staff can point me in the right direction. The crosswalks on the green belt have lighting signals at each crosswalk. Some of the older ones are starting to show their age and the lights aren't working. Or we could have better lighting. The newer crosswalks have much better lighting. Children are starting to use the crosswalks more now that they're back at school. I'm wondering if, because they're on the Greenbelt, it's a Parks and Rec Commission question, or if there's another place that I should engage city staff to talk about improving some of those crosswalks.
I think that would actually be appropriate for Katie Rizal, who is our traffic engineer.
Okay.
And
I just knowing, because I've gotten involved with clearing some trees and stuff like that for them, I believe it's my understanding that they are updating those crosswalks. But yeah, Katie would have the best answer for that.
Okay.
John Paul, I can send you her email address.
Fantastic. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Commissioner White Snyder, do you have anything?
I do not at this time. Thank you.
And then nothing on my end either. Next item on the agenda, presentation. At this time, I'd like to pass the microphone over to Mr. Phil Marler.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen now. Well, you all need to know that we love pickleball. And informally, we're representing the avid pickleball players here in Woodland. Joining us tonight are Henry Murrieta, Richard O'Malley, Bruce Jacks, and myself, Phil Marler. We want to tell you what pickleball is about and a little bit of its history. It was a sport totally invented and developed in the USA, and now it's a worldwide phenomenon, primarily by 3 families vacationing on Bainbridge Island in Washington. What they had were a combination of bored kids, a badminton court, and an old wiffle ball. And some dads got home, 3 dads got home from playing golf and found the kids in this condition. And they started hitting a wiffle ball over a badminton net using ping pong paddles, but quickly found that while the ball bounced well, if they lowered the net, that the ping pong paddles weren't good enough, so they cut out some rough, larger paddles out of plywood. And as they say, the rest is history. Pickles was the dog, and that's how it got its name. Pickles would run around chasing the wiffle ball, run off with it, and that's how the game got its name, pickleball. Pickleball is a paddle sport that blends elements of tennis, ping pong, and badminton. The court is the same size as a badminton court, and usually you have 4 players, but 2 players can play using a wood or more commonly a composite paddle to hit a plastic ball similar to a wiffle ball over a net, and it can be played indoors and outdoors. I'm going to start a YouTube video, and hopefully it's only 1.5 minutes long, and hopefully the audio and video will work. It's going to be dependent upon your internet service, but there's plenty of pickleball videos on YouTube. Whoops, I'm sorry, I'm early. Why is it so popular? I'll get to that video in just a second. It's an easy sport to learn and play. It's a small court, 1/4 the size of a tennis court. Players have less area to cover. When you play with a partner, there's even less running around, and that's why it's so popular with seniors, as evidenced by my senior moment there. It's very low equipment cost. When you look at snow skiing or golf, you can spend thousands of dollars on equipment. You know, entry-level pickleball paddle is less than $20. And it is fun. It's incredibly social. You're laughing, you're joking, you're just running around and just having a blast. It's a good exercise too, very low impact, and you can stay in shape And just in this last year in the US, pickleball grew by 22%. There's more than 4 million active players in the US. Now, that quick introduction to pickleball.
Hey, I'm Matt Goebel, and I'm here to talk to you guys about pickleball. Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America. It was invented by 3 dads on Bainbridge Island back in 1965. It's a combination of tennis, ping pong, and badminton. It's played on a badminton-sized court with a net about 2 inches shorter than a tennis net. You play it with a paddle a little bit bigger than a ping pong paddle and a little more durable wiffle ball. You can play it as either doubles or singles. So singles is 1-on-1, doubles is a combination of 2 teams, 2-on-2. It's growing for a number of reasons. It's a lot easier on the body, and it's a lot easier to pick up. Most racket sports require hours and hours of lessons, but with pickleball, you can walk onto a court, pick up a paddle, and within 5 minutes of learning how to play, you can be playing a competitive game with your friends. It's a really fast-paced sport, which takes advantage of your quick hands and reflexes, but it's also strategic. It's like a chess match on a court. Pickleball is a great workout. It's fun for all ages and skill levels, whether you've been playing tennis your whole life or you've never picked up a paddle or a racket before. Pickleball is a really social sport. Unlike tennis, you're really close to your opponents and your partner, which allows for more of a social environment on and off the court. And it's a super competitive sport with tournaments all across the nation all year round. If you want to learn more about pickleball and how to play, go to playpickleball.com.
Woodland has a fast-growing pickleball community. And right now, Beamer Park is the only City of Woodland outdoor pickleball facility. But that's really thanks to forward-looking city staff. When Beamer Park was renovated, they included 4 pickleball courts. We, of course, have to supply our own nets, but they're portable nets. It is growing. The popularity of pickleball in Woodland is growing by the day. Additional courts are going to be essential to meet that demand, and we, the Pickleball Committee, would like to work closely with city staff and the Parks and Recreation Commission to develop more outdoor facilities for play. This is what Beamer Park looked like in 2018 before it was renovated. As you see, it was striped only for tennis. This is how it looks today. It was resurfaced as a multi-purpose court with both tennis and pickleball. You can see the 4 outlined pickleball courts in blue, 2 on each side of the tennis net. And that tennis net is excellent in that it serves as a backstop for the north and south pickleball courts. In this layout, the tennis courts are primary. And by primary, I mean you have the green field, the blue tennis courts that are outlined in white, and then the pickleball courts are secondary, not primary. They're the light blue lines as you see on there. I'll bring this up a little bit later. Crawford Park. There are 2 tennis courts at Crawford Park, and they appear to be the best location to create more pickleball courts for Woodland. We're talking about multi-purpose tennis and pickleball courts there. It's got plenty of off-street parking. It's away from the homes, unlike Beamer Park. And it's right now underutilized by tennis players, but the current surface conditions are less than ideal, as shown in these photos. These are current at Crawford Park. What would be ideal are multi-purpose courts at Crawford Park. And we understand that community services staff plan to add pickleball courts to Crawford as early as next month. We are hoping that they will add 6 courts versus the 4 that we see at Beamer. We also understand that the condition at Crawford Park are going to require a complete reconstruction at some point in time, and would like to work with city staff to help design and lay out the Crawford Park courts. We would love to have improved lighting, primarily removing the light poles that go down between the 2 center tennis courts. And ideally to lay out 6 or maybe even 8 pickleball courts and paint the pickleball courts as primary, as shown in this illustration, and outline the tennis courts. So you still have multi-purpose courts with both tennis and pickleball, but in this at this park, pickleball would be primary, but still tennis would be available. As an example, in the Sacramento Valley, in Citrus Heights, there's Rush Community Park. And this shows how quickly pickleball has overtaken tennis courts. This is what the tennis court facilities look like in 2013. And in 2016, 6 pickleball courts had totally replaced 2 tennis courts. And as of August 2019, there are no tennis courts left and 12 pickleball courts are there. With 12 pickleball courts, you can have as many as 48 pickleball players playing at the same time, as opposed to 4 tennis courts, which only 8 singles, or if everybody's playing doubles, 16 people could go. So you get more utilization out of the pickleball courts. Here's just some pictures at Beamer Park. You can see the light blue lines there. All 4 courts are going in this particular, in these particular photos. We have players in all 4 courts. Beamer Park is a wonderful facility. And here's a quick video of a point. You can see it's not a lot of running around, but it's a lot of fun. Pickleball activity is just, you'll see all ages, you'll see both genders, people of all ages. We play in the morning, play at night. Everybody's out there just to have a lot of fun. And a quick flyover here at Beamer Park with all courts going. You see the tennis net there serves as a backstop between the north and south courts. So what do the Woodland pickleball players want? We would like the Parks and Rec Commission to adopt a policy that any new or renovated tennis courts be made multi-purpose with both tennis and pickleball. That the commission support the renovation of Crawford Park tennis court facilities as the tennis and pickleball location. And that when Crawford Park tennis courts are renovated, that the pickleball courts are primary. That is, that they're painted solid and the tennis courts are outlined. And most importantly, we would like the Parks and Rec commissioners and the community services staff to come out and play pickleball with us on Thursday, that's next week, Thursday, May the 6th from 3 to 6:30 p.m. at Beamer Park. And we're gonna have a barbecue for you and give you a chance to try your hand at pickleball. That is the end of my presentation. Are there any questions?
This is Commissioner Ali. No questions for me, but wonderful presentation. And that was a lot of knowledgeable information about pickleball. I have played tennis a few times. I'm not a pro or anything, but I gotta say, I think I wanna try pickleball next because it sounds like it's a little bit more fun.
It is a lot of fun, and put that on your calendars, all of you guys. Christine, you and your staff, as well as the other commissioners, come on out, Beamer Park. You know, I'm not sure what your work situations are, so that's why we're starting at 3 and going as long as 6:30. We'll have hot dogs and hamburgers, and all you need to do is bring your tennis shoes, bottle of water, and we'll do the rest. We'll show you how to do that. Christine promised that she's coming out, right, Christine? And Carla, that's what I was sending my email to you about, to try and get you out a little bit earlier.
I'm checking my work calendar to see whether or not I can make the earlier or if I have to wait till 5-ish. So still looking, still working. Sorry, Phil.
Okay. When is this happening again? Is this every day?
May 6th is
the one where we're going to have the barbecue, where we would love to have the commissioners and Christine's staff, is on Thursday, May the 6th, you know, from 3 to 6:30 p.m. or 3 until whenever. But towards the end of that, we'll be doing some hot dogs and hamburgers and that sort of thing. But it's a chance for you all to get to know us and us to get to know you, but more importantly, that you get to know pickleball. Any other questions?
I have a question. How many participants do you have? You know, there's regular, there's a high number. So how many do you have going right now?
Yeah, there's probably at least three different pods, I'll call them. There's a morning group, and it's changed since COVID, because we used to play at the community center Tuesdays and Thursday mornings from 9 until noon, and we would have 40 people, you know, on those 4 courts there. 40 people trying to participate on that. We probably have in the neighborhood of 125 pickleball players. That's hard to guess. Like I was saying, we have what I call 3 pods. We have a morning group, there's sort of a daytime, sometimes weekend group, and then there's evening groups. And I used to play days and evenings, but you know, it's a good game for people my age, but you know, you can't overdo it. So I'd say about 125 people. Going back to that community park in Citrus Heights, they had to cap their membership to those 12 courts at 700. And so I assume there's a waiting list for people to get in on that, just to kind of give you a feel.
Okay. Right.
Questions?
So pickleball is only played on tennis courts. You can't use a basketball court or anything like that.
No.
My own knowledge.
Well, in the community center, in the gymnasium, in the community center, and all those lines that are on there, you got volleyball, basketball going 2 different ways, and there are badminton courts on there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we use the same line as the badminton courts. So we just set up portable nets. I don't know how easily you could see those in some of the photos. And so it can be played indoors on the gymnasium floor. We do that as soon as we're able to get back in there. Hopefully we'll be able to get a similar schedule on the Tuesday, Thursday mornings. So yes, we can do indoors and outdoors on it. You know, you really need a surface like a tennis court, and Beamer right now is in really great shape for us. We enjoy that.
A follow-up question, and you might not have an answer for this, but when there was indoor availability, was there less usage at the actual tennis courts and the parks, or was the usage the same, or has it just increased because of COVID?
Well, Wesley, you might need to help me here. I'm not sure when the Beamer courts got inaugurated. There is a picture, one of those pictures I showed was the indoor crew coming there. We had a barbecue and stuff like that, right, Wesley?
Yes.
But what was the date of that? Do you remember?
Oh, it was at least 2 years ago. I don't remember the exact date.
It was.
We've done so many projects.
I think it was like in the summertime summertime of 2019, maybe.
Sounds about right.
Because it's like, you know, we were primarily playing indoors, and in the evenings we play outdoors, and then COVID hit and shut down the community and senior center. And so our only option was outdoor, and it was kind of tentative at first as people were trying to figure out what to do in COVID. But we found that easy to do social distancing, you know, while you're playing that, and you know, when it was pretty busy in terms of COVID, we would wear masks when we weren't on the courts and stuff like that. But now things seem to be relaxing more.
Yeah, I would say the use of that court or those courts has increased tenfold since we resurfaced it. Before that, it was occasionally used for tennis, and you don't even hardly see anyone using it for tennis anymore.
So I would say I have a lot of different thoughts going on. First, Phil, Bruce, Henry, and Richard, thank you so much for bringing this issue to our attention, and then for all the work that you've put into the presentation and how thoughtful everything is. Wesley, Andrew, and I did meet with the group maybe about 2 weeks ago or so out at Crawford Park, and I really liked the idea of making the pickleball lines the primary lines. Andrew was already planning to add pickleball lines at Crawford Park because we know that it's growing and that the courts will be used, and I love the multi-purpose nature of it. I hadn't thought of pickleball being the primary lines, but I think that's a great idea. We're looking at kind of a two-phase approach for improving conditions for pickleball in the community. And one of them first is just getting additional lines on the courts at Crawford Park. But in the meantime, Andrew is also getting quotes for the overall resurfacing or reconstruction of the courts. Because when we did Beamer, we resurfaced it, but perhaps it may have been a better idea to reconstruct it. So we want to reconstruct Crawford Park. We think that, that's going to be obviously a lot more money than the resurfacing itself. Hopefully it's not more than 80,000, but it could be. And then once we add in taking out light poles and doing this and doing that, we need to see what that cost would be. But as we've moved forward over the years with having money available to us for maintenance and upkeep on the different parks and recreation facilities, I would like to get that bid and see if we can fit that in with the next round of money that we would get in the next fiscal year, which really isn't far away from now. It's already basically May. That might set back doing the projects that we had planned next were in that next round of money was actually all the play structures at Campbell Park and also at Christensen. But with looking at the condition of the courts at Crawford, I would like to speed that up. And then I would like to, in the next year or two, as we can, do the same to Woodside. So then all 4 of the courts in Woodland will have been done, in the last 6 years or so. I'm drawing a blank on when we did City Park. Fully support also every time that we resurface or reconstruct that we add additional, lines. I don't know that, I know that I absolutely can't speak that if the tennis club builds their tennis complex, I don't know that they would want pickleball lines on their complex. So, that's a different topic altogether. How about in terms of getting back at the community center? That's going to be really popular as it starts to heat up. The last time I spoke with Dignity, they were planning to do vaccinations in the gymnasium through the end of July, but things could have changed since I spoke to them last. But that is, while that need still exists, that needs to be our primary, the primary function that we support, the use of the gym. But then once that's gone, we're fully back open for gym sports again.
Great.
I just have a question on cost of Crawford. I saw the picture that Phil showed, and they're asked to remove those lights in the middle. So they ask remove the ones in the middle and make ones to the edge so they can still play at night. And then the 8 courts are, preferably 2 on each tennis court being lined. Is that the ask? I'm just asking.
There are already lights on the outside, but those would be made brighter, is my understanding, or we would change out to LED. I don't know if I'm even grabbing all this from what we've heard and discussed in the past, but the ones in the middle could be a hazard for running as well.
Well, I looked real quick, but I couldn't see the ones on the outside because I was zeroing in on the ones on the inside, and then that slide went away. So I wasn't sure. Thank you.
Yeah. The other thing I want to point out, and it doesn't affect this group, but just more so for the commissioner's information, we do have nets that can be checked out at the community center when we're open for use at Beamer Park, but it seems like everyone's kind of found a solution and is making it work. That's probably more of a pain for people to have to come to the community center first and then to go to Beamer Park, but we wanted that option available.
Well, and we would do a light survey also at Crawford to figure out the need and maybe even, if we're in the process of doing that, different placement of all the poles all together. And
yeah, that just adds more money is why I was asking. I mean, if you use what's there, then that's less money. If you have to move things, it adds up.
Yeah, the light part kind of concerns me because I feel like if the structuring of it is, like 120,000, that's easier to come up with than if we're saying, okay, now we have a $220,000 project or whatever it is. So we'll continue to bring that issue back to the commission, but right now we're also just waiting to get the bids that Andrew is working on.
Okay.
But before that, they're going to paint the courts.
Yes, and we appreciate that. On the lights, if I understood correctly, Christine, from you and from Wesley, is that Crawford probably needs to be totally dug out and recompacted and everything. And so with all that kind of work, I thought, well, those center light poles are going to be in the way, and that might be the ideal time to move them to the four corners, which is how Beamer Park is done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so that's just that would make it far more flexible in terms of a tennis and pickleball court.
In regards to May 6th, I have a meeting from 3 to 5, but then I'm planning to come out there, and I actually have never tried pickleball. I know that Marshall Eccles is going to join you, and Dallas is hoping to get there, and Wesley is checking his calendar, and Chris is involved in 4-H.
I plan on being there.
Good. It's a lot of fun. We'll have everything except your tennis shoes and your bottle of water. Oh, I don't know, Henry, we might have some water there. You're muted, Henry, but I think we've taken enough of your time.
It's all right. Henry, you can.
Henry, you need to unmute. Well, Henry, can you hear me? You need to unmute yourself.
Oh, I was just recommending that if you're going to come out, make sure you bring a baseball cap and maybe some shades.
Okay.
Because it's going to be at 3 o'clock, so it'll be fairly warm. But we'll have the water for you. You'll be fine, and you're going to enjoy it.
Sounds like fun.
We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, it does sound like fun. I'll try to make it out there if I can get out of work early and come myself. And I'll try to get my 16-year-old to come with me.
There you go.
I'll bribe him with food. We'll see if it works.
That would be pretty. And we can play later into the evening. It's whatever. I mean, you get pickleball players there. It's hard to get them to quit.
Yeah, I remember when the pickleball group first came to the Parks and Rec Commission. I thought it was more than 2 years ago, Wes, but asking us about courts, and it's kind of neat to see how the program has grown since that first meeting in front of the commission. If folks are interested, is there a good way to check in and get more information about pickleball in Woodland? Do they start with the city?
Are you talking about if a person just wants to learn about where to go play pickleball?
Yeah, to get a pickup game, basically.
Richard O'Malley, do you have any thoughts on that?
I just think come out in the morning, around 9 o'clock. We're pretty much there every day, maybe except for Friday. People do show up on the weekends, but just come out. I've got plenty of paddles, balls. If you want to play, then join us and have a good time.
Well, John Paul, we also, in our recreation guide, we do advertise the drop-in at the community center.
Okay.
If I could add to that, your question, John Paul, is a lot of the contact goes through WhatsApp. Okay, like I have a group of 50 plus people on WhatsApp.
Okay.
Whenever we're gathering, there's notifications, confirmation who's showing up, stuff like that. The morning group has a WhatsApp. That's another 50 people. So you're always confirming that making certain someone's going to be there playing.
Okay.
So if you want to get on WhatsApp and give your telephone number out to somebody, we can hook you into a system where you would always know who's playing and what days they're playing.
Okay. Thanks.
And we're playing tomorrow morning.
Yes, we are.
Hey, excuse me. One other thing too, Henry, you might say that whoever the administrators, like Jenny or maybe yourself, you could add people that have interest to do contact the city to the WhatsApp. Their phone numbers could be added on, and then they would get the information.
Yeah, you could do that. You know, as long as we know you're on WhatsApp and we have your phone number, I could add you to my group. And my group is a entry-level group that plays on Sunday and Tuesday and Thursday nights from 6 to possibly sometimes 10 p.m. Then the day group, Jenny runs that group. She's the administrator, and we play usually from 9. I was there from 9:30 today to almost 2 p.m.
It's quite a day.
I took a nap.
And I would add, there's just a lot of spontaneous pickup games. Somebody will just shoot out a WhatsApp, you know, at a really odd time. Does anyone want to play? And it's not unusual that you just get a pickup game going in 10 or 15 minutes. So.
Yeah.
That's great. I love the socializing that is going on and bringing together.
And it's easy to learn. What's fun? I was out there last night. We needed a couple of people. Some group having a boxing program over to the side. They were leaving. I asked them if they wanted to play. 2 of the guys came over, and before you know it, they were playing a match.
Great.
I mean, they never played before, right? And they were playing that quick.
That's awesome.
That is great.
Yeah.
Well, I will definitely reach back out to the 4 of you, or at least to Phil, to disseminate the information once we get our bids, once we kind of know what's going on. But in the meantime, by the end of May was our deadline for installing the new lines at Crawford.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. And then we'll see you next week.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
A week from Thursday.
Thanks, Phil, for the
week from
presentation.
Thursday. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, now to, where was I?
Your own business items.
Okay, any business items?
I don't think so.
Have anything? Okay, moving on to committee reports. All right, we'll start with Facilities Committee. Commissioner White Snyder, do you have any updates for us?
I do not.
Okay. Program and Department Evaluation, which is me. No updates from me. Budget and Finance Committee, Commissioner Martin.
I do not.
Okay, and then we have Urban Forest Committee, Commissioner Valcaringi. John Paul, you are on mute.
Thank you. The rookie move. I should know better by now. No updates on urban forest, but on facilities, I did note that we got emails in over the month concerning the dog park. So some interest groups emailed the commission members and city staff did respond, and I think they're working together to resolve some requests for TLC that some dog owners had for the dog park.
Yeah, and I would add to that though that the essence of the letter that we got, or and that the commissioners also got, or that a few of them got, or actually you all got it, was that, yeah, there's some items that they want fixed. So in order to do that, and there are some that we agreed with, we will be closing the dog park on Wednesdays from about 8 to 2, I want to say. When we don't have maintenance activities planned, we won't close the dog park, but it could sometimes look like nothing is going on, but something is going on. So I do expect that we're going to get more complaints from the other side that want the dog park open. And we already have received those complaints once signs were posted last week. You know, why can't the dog park be open while you're doing your maintenance? You're not going to be doing anything anyways, and so forth. But, you know, staff really can't be digging holes and doing things with dogs running up to them the whole time.
I tell you, that's our busiest park out of all the city parks. Dog park is the most trafficked park in town.
Yeah, so we're gonna take it week by week. If we can kick out all the activities real quickly, then perhaps we won't be closed, on those Wednesdays any longer, or maybe it'll only be like once a month or whatnot. But we need to get a handle on it right now, and then just resolve some issues.
Well, I know people appreciate it, so thank you.
Volunteerism Committee, Commissioner Martin.
Don't have anything at this time.
And then Ad Hoc Committee, Commissioner White-Snyder.
No.
All right, we'll go on to the consent calendar. Have you all had a chance to review the minutes from March 22nd? If so, can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes from last month's meeting.
Commissioner White-Snyder, I'll second.
Okay, we'll take a vote. Chair Ali,
Commissioner Ali, aye.
Vice Chair Martin,
Aye.
Commissioner Valcaringi,
Aye.
Commissioner White-Snyder.
Aye.
All right, that passes. The minutes will be approved for March 22nd.
And then moving on, commission absence request. At this time, does anyone know if they have any upcoming requests for either June or for the remainder of the year?
So I'm looking on my calendar and I'm trying to toggle between emails in my calendar. When's the June meeting?
Sorry, May. May meeting is May 24th and June meeting is June 28th.
So the May meeting shouldn't be a problem. I have some vacations coming up in June, but June 28th I should be around. So I'm okay for the next 2 months.
Okay.
I do not have any requests. That's Commissioner White-Snyder.
I do not have any request either. This is Commissioner Martin.
Nothing for me either. This is Commissioner Ali. So we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is report of staff. And so I believe we're starting with Wesley today. And
Wesley, are you going to go with your report first?
Before Wesley gets started, I'll go ahead and jump in. I did want to let everybody know that on Wednesday night out at Jack Slavin Park, there is a trial food truck event that I guess some of the neighbors initiated, and Sactomofo will be parking, I believe, 2 food trucks. I don't have, I can look up which street. Oh, Wesley can say maybe.
Macho.
On Camacho, from 5 to 8 o'clock at night. They will have an employee there who will be like guiding the lines and making sure that people are practicing COVID precautions. And hopefully the weather cooperates and it's just a great night for that community.
And that's when?
That is as the first one will be this Wednesday. They would like to do it every Wednesday, but some of it depends on, are there complaints from neighbors? Are there issues that we weren't thinking of? Is there a demand for this? And, if there's no demand for it, then it doesn't make sense for them to do this.
Mm-hmm. Do we know where the trucks are going to park?
Yeah, I just have to look at a picture on my phone.
They're going to be on the street along Camacho Way. I do know that.
Okay, so that's on the
kind of outside of closer to Ortiz, and kind of by like maybe there's like a shade structure right there.
Yeah. Okay.
But where we might transition this to, and I don't have an answer on the timing, is the dirt lot. But my understanding is that we're actually doing maintenance on that right now, and rocks need to be spread. And then I don't know also if if there's going to be issues with weeds and this and that. So, part of it isn't to then burden staff with now having to do weekly maintenance for these food trucks coming, you know, to the park. So we're gonna try some things and see what the best solution is as we go.
Yeah, I think parking on that dirt lot would be good anyway. Really good. I don't think there's that many weeds out there right now. My recollection is that the bark that used to be out there is slowly worn away, but
yeah, Wesley can speak to it, but I heard that there's 4 large piles of rocks that need to be spread.
oh, that's what the rocks are. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And the whole food truck thing actually came about with us finding out about it on Facebook. So we already had our own plans for work that was going to be done at the park. So, for the time being, when that work is completed on the schedule, it was planned to be completed on, then we'll consider moving the trucks. But hopefully the trucks there are going to be just fine, because the windows of the trucks are going to be open to the sidewalks. And hopefully a lot of people aren't driving there for this. But even if the trucks are in the dirt lot and people are driving there for this, we're still going to have that problem. So we'll see. But I just wanted to let you know in case you need dinner on Wednesday night. Turn it back over to you, Wesley.
All right. I'm going to quickly go through things since this is a longer meeting already. Community center staff greased and lubed motors in the mechanical room, replaced a leaking gauge on the geothermal pumps, cleaned the carpets and steamed the partition walls. They've had a lot of issues with, not issues, but the kids do what kids do, and they were writing on the walls and whatnot. But he did a good job of getting rid of it all too. So, and then at Dave Douglas, we replaced the fencing on the ball field. So the remainder of the fencing that was there now matches the new backstop. So it's it's kind of a decent little area to play baseball now. Or kickball. Schneider replaced the discontinued slide with a new updated slide. So now the park is all good, has great slides, very usable. Woodside, we removed the dilapidated tennis wall and resurfaced the basketball courts and repainted the basketball courts. And then moving on, there's a park use update, April 15th. Gathering required issued by the state. Community services will begin to accept reservations for up to 50 people in the orange tier and 100 people in the yellow tier. Signs will be posted to still stay COVID compliant. And then May 1st will be the opening of the Jack Slavin spray feature. And moving on, Circle 4 Amplify grant. This is a grant that the tree department or urban forestry is working on with through the California Urban Forest Council and with our contractor, West Coast Arborist, in conjunction also with the Tree Foundation. This will be about 66 trees that can be planted on Arbor Day, March 12th. And the city's obligation will be selecting sites, digging the holes, and then being there on Arbor Day to assist with it. And Woodland Tree Foundation will be assisting with, as usual, getting the volunteers and being leaders for planting groups. And that's all I have.
Hello, everybody. So today's report for the recreation, I'm going to report again on aquatics. I know I did it last month, but I wanted to make sure I pointed out some important aquatics changes for 2021. With the loosening of restrictions, we are returning to a little bit of a more normal summer for this year. Some details are still being finalized, but we're happy to see that our programming will return to what we're a little bit used to. So starting next week, the Woodland Wreckers will be practicing. And last year they didn't practice at all. We're happy that we can get the kids back into the water, and potentially they will be competing. It might be a virtual meet, but we can get the kids ages, under 5 all the way up to 18 doing the Woodland Wrecker thing. So we're very happy there. Swim lessons. We did offer swim lessons last year, but it was in a different fashion than we've ever been used to. The lessons were very limited, and the instructors were teaching, but they were teaching parents to teach the kids. And so parents were touching kids where instructors are normally the one-on-ones. So with proper protection this year, the instructors will be wearing face shields. The staff will actually be teaching lessons directly to the children. And in addition, we will be having more available slots for lessons. In a normal summer, we're used to offering about 1,000 slots for swimming lessons. And last year we did about 200 because we had to space things out. We couldn't have as many kids in the water. This year we're hoping to reach about 600 spots. So a big increase from last year. Still, spacing out as much as we can, but we're hopeful to be able to make more offerings this summer. And on the same lines as swim lessons, we're also hopeful to be able to bring back the junior lifeguard program. So it was another thing that got cut last year just due to COVID. And the junior lifeguard program is something for ages 12 to 14. And it's a 2-hour-a-day program where kids learn like lifeguarding skills. It's a 2-week program that is a great option for kids just to do something different. And then they can stay at the pool and do public swim after. So we're happy for that. And participants also receive a standard CPR certification during those 2 weeks. And speaking of public swim, we are very thrilled that we will be able to offer public swim. And while it's going to be a little bit more restricted than what we had in the past, we know that we can still bring it back. And it's very important in our community as it provides a great opportunity for kids to be busy during the summer, and we offer it for free. Days will be limited to weekdays only, and attendance will be limited to about 150, whereas before, we could get capacity at 300. So we're still going to keep people distanced. I will be providing more summer program updates next month, and it'll be things such as like sports, like what's happening for the adult sports, and even the youth programs. Any questions for me for recreation?
And I would just say from a budget standpoint, as you can see, we have a lot of money available in our budget, and our revenue is down as well, but we expected that. But with 253, which is the cash in, cash out, we're actually positive right now. So that is actually the most critical thing. That is pretty standard with where we're at this year, because right now we're collecting revenue for programming that's going to happen next fiscal year. So when we move into the next fiscal year, we can dip like in December or so because we're spending a lot during summer, and then we start capturing the revenue again. So I don't have any concerns about our budget right now. Wesley, are you talking to us? Okay.
Oh.
Wesley has antlers over his head. I've been looking at him this whole meeting, and he's got antlers poking out the top of his head. I think it was on purpose, Wes.
That was my first deer that I got with. Actually, it's my first deer ever with bow or anything.
Wow. Well, you look great with antlers.
Thank you.
Christine, I'm changing the subject, but I forgot to ask at the beginning of the meeting. I had asked at the end of last year about whether or not the city would be engaging Spring Lake neighborhood for completion of the parks. I know we're past the business park meetings, which were a huge lift for the city. I think they went really well. And I was just wondering if the city has the Spring Lake parks in its sights now that they're past the business park.
Yeah, so this summer there will be public meetings, and it's for completing Spring Lake Park, Slavin and Gonzalez. And I haven't had a meeting lately, but the last meeting that I was at, with that public meeting, we'll want to gather some input on the types of recreation amenities that are kind of missing from the Spring Lake community for when we're planning Central Park.
Mhm.
Is that the last one? But those public meetings won't be specific to that park. It will be on those three.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea. Could you ask when city staff start thinking about scheduling that, if they can answer anticipated questions about the 2-acre commercial lot at Jack Slavin that's a blight and
Yes.
not going anywhere? I don't know what the answer is, but just have them prepared to answer questions about that.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. I
think
appreciate that update.
All right, anything else? If not, then our next meeting is May 24th. And can I get a motion to adjourn?
Commissioner Martin, motion to adjourn.
I'll second. Commissioner White Snyder.
Chris, you have to do roll call.
Yes, I do. Chair Ali,
Aye.
Vice Chair Martin,
Aye.
Commissioner Valcarini,
Aye.
Commissioner White Snyder.
Aye.
With that, we are adjourned at 7:29.
Been fun.
Good night.
As always.
I hope to see you guys next week at the pickleball game.
Yes.
Okay,
you.
I'll try to make it.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.